So as we all know, 2020 has been kind of a terrible year. First, we had threats of a whole new world war to make a trilogy out of the whole thing. Secondly, we had a massive amount of wildfires in Australia. And now we have an entire new virus to deal with. And because of all this, you probably wouldn't think there could be possibly another bad thing to happen in 2020. But oh my sweet innocent little child, it gets worse. For you see, Adobe Flash Player is going to be discontinued after the end of this year. Oh, you don't know what Flash Player is? Well, allow me to explain. But before that, be sure to go down below and click that subscribe button. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Now, let's get into the video. Imagine you're a child sitting at your family desktop after just searching PP 10 consecutive times in a row. You're thinking to yourself, dang, I didn't know other people had those things. And after getting over the weirdness of that, you decide to try out something your friends had told you about at school, Flash games. You see, you had an N64 and had played your fair share of Mario, but you wanted to see what this whole thing was about. You proceed to launch Internet Explorer because, face it, either your parents didn't trust Google Chrome or it hadn't been invented yet, and you type in the simple word of games. And just because of this small, seemingly unimportant action, your third eye in the gaming realm has been opened. Your world has forever been changed along with many others. Games, instead of being something that you had to spend money on and had to keep constant care of, turned into something that was readily accessible for anyone with an internet connection. Instead of only having something like Diddy Kong Racing, you now had access to a plethora of games from Rogue Running to the Fancy Pants series and everything in between. And the best thing about Flash games were that if you got bored of one game, you didn't have to go to Mr. Toys R Us Man and ask him for a new game. You could just put in the search bar another game that you wanted to play. Now obviously this is better than speaking to Scary Toys R Us Man because
that's social interaction and I don't support it.
Why did you have to die?
So now that I've explained to you a little bit on what Flash was, you might be wondering why Adobe is shutting it down at the end of this year. Well, the answer to that is actually quite simple and easy to explain. You see, Adobe Flash uses an absolutely horrid encryption software known as Real-Time Media Protocol, RTMPE for short. And basically what an easily cracked encryption software does is allow hackers to steal your precious Robux, or I guess back in 2008, steal your GP on RuneScape. And not only can they steal fake currency, but they can also steal personal information such as your private IPv4 address and even your personal banking information, leaving you incredibly vulnerable. So then why didn't Adobe put safer protection on their software in the first place, you might ask? Well, because simply put, the internet didn't used to be such a horrible and nasty place. You see, in 2008, the worst thing that could happen to you was maybe getting a pizza ordered to your house if it was an exceptional 12-year-old hacker. Sadly, however, those days are gone, hence why Flash will be seeing its last day on the 31st of December. But enough of the depressing parts. Let's get nostalgic. Now obviously, for anyone born between 1995 and 2005, Flash games are incredibly nostalgic, not only for the reason that they were incredibly fun, but for the sheer amount of time we spent playing them. We would play them at our school, at home, awake, asleep somehow, and even at our own grandmother's funeral if we could. It's what Gram would have wanted. And I'm sure that everyone who has been blessed by being able to play Flash games remember the first time they heard about them. I know I sure do. I was sitting at my table, probably wondering why my Crayola twist wasn't working when my best friend, we'll call him Epic Gamer Man, EGM for short, comes up to me and tells me about this new game he'd been playing. He said that it was a game where you were a dinosaur and he had to run from things that were coming towards you. I think you can guess what the game was called. Naturally, after hearing about this, I go home and type in my family computer, Dino Run. That's the title of the game, if you couldn't tell. God, I'm so funny. And this is where I was first graced with the greatness that was and still is to this day, Flash sites. And let me tell you, it was revolutionary. Almost anybody that have played Flash games at some point in their life probably recognize at least one of these sites. Miniclip, the juggernaut of the Flash gaming industry. I swear to God, more 8-year-olds have been on this site than have been raised by Ryan's Toy Review. Newgrounds, I swear to God, has made more jobs and careers than the past 2 presidents combined. Honestly, at this point, it should just run for office itself. And finally, the end-all be-all for Flash games, CoolMathGames.com. This one has gotten millions upon millions of children out of trouble around the world. I swear, your teacher could walk up behind you and see you playing Run 3, and if she even tried telling you it wasn't school-related, you could turn around to her, stare her dead in the eye, and say, "Are you dumb? It clearly says cool math games in the website title. Are you calling it a liar, Miss Anderson? This is why your husband divorced you and why he died shortly after. It's because you accuse everybody of lying. And she would turn around and tell you to keep on. It was insane. But the thing that was even more insane was the amount of games on these sites. To end out my memorial to Flash games, I wanted to talk about the games themselves, and what better place to begin with my top favorite of all time, Give Up. Man, if you didn't die in this game at all through the main story, you were literally the biggest Chad in the entire school. No, scratch that, the entire world. I cannot explain to you the many sleepless nights I had perfecting my craft, only for it to go down the drain all these years later. While getting footage for this video, I could only get to around stage 10 on the second game in the series. Next up, we have my second favorite game of all time, Raft Wars. A game where the gameplay is so deep that it practically invented the shooter genre. You see, you play as a child and his brother who have found a treasure on the beach and are now being hunted by various groups of people. These people can range from literal pirates to the neighbor's kids. And while people may think I got my hand-eye coordination from COD or Beat Saber, I actually got it for playing Raft Wars for many sleepless nights when I should have been learning my multiplication tables. But oh god, was it worth it. And playing games along with others such as Indestructo Tank, Fancy Pants, The Idiot Test, and many more have shaped a whole generation who love Flash games, as well as the experiences they've had with them. And just for all of this, for all of these wonderful experiences, I thank you Adobe Flash for all of this, for shaping so many childhoods. And while you may be getting the old shotgun behind the barn house, you will forever be in mine and many others' hearts. We will all miss you, Flash. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and just remember to be sure to press that subscribe button down below. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe whenever you want to. Have a wonderful day, all of you, and goodbye.